Hello, everyone. I'm Sheldon Baker, and welcome to the 420 area code. Good to have you join us again today. Carl Germano is the vice president at Verdant Oasis. He's an author and a CBD and nutraceutical expert, and his company is one of the supporters of the 420 area code. When we come back from these important words, I'll talk with Carl about his vast knowledge and wellness and health and experience overall, what's happening at Verdant Oasis, and his viewpoints about the CBD industry. So come on back.
Not all hemp oils are created equal. Let Verdant Oasis show you why. Verdant Oasis is a vertically integrated hemp-centric raw material grower, manufacturer, and supplier. We oversee every step from soil to oil. Verdant strains are genotyped and registered by government-regulated seed banks. Our operations are HACCP and GMP certified by SGS International. Verdant Oasis has the most comprehensive global safety dossier for hemp extract, setting the benchmark for FDA acceptance and NDI compliance, the gateway to the food and beverage industry. Our hemp oil ingredients are accepted and authorized by the FDA, USDA, and DEA for interstate commerce throughout the United States. In the UK and EU, our extract is authorized as a novel food. Wholesome and pure, backed by science, legally compliant, and fully integrated with a dedicated innovation center to serve your unique marketing objectives. To learn more about the Verdant difference, visit our website at www.verdantoasis.com. Verdant Oasis, the essence of hemp.
Welcome back, everyone. My guest today is going to be Carl Germano. He is the vice president of Verdant Oasis. As I mentioned, he's an author and an expert in the area of CBD and nutraceuticals. Been in the business for quite a long time. And as I'd also mentioned, that his company, Verdant Oasis, is one of the supporters of this show, of the 420 area code. So we're very much appreciative of that. And because we're so appreciative of it, we're going to play that commercial spot one more time. And so, again, don't go away. When we come back, Carl will be with us.
Not all hemp oils are created equal. Let Verdant Oasis show you why. Verdant Oasis is a vertically integrated hemp-centric raw material grower, manufacturer, and supplier. We oversee every step from soil to oil. Verdant strains are genotyped and registered by government-regulated seed banks. Our operations are HACCP and GMP certified by SGS International. Verdant Oasis has the most comprehensive global safety dossier for hemp extract, setting the benchmark for FDA acceptance and NDI compliance, the gateway to the food and beverage industry. Our hemp oil ingredients are accepted and authorized by the FDA, USDA, and DEA for interstate commerce throughout the United States. In the UK and EU, our extract is authorized as a novel food. Wholesome and pure, backed by science, legally compliant, and fully integrated with a dedicated innovation center to serve your unique marketing objectives. To learn more about the Verdant difference, visit our website at www.verdantoasis.com. Verdant Oasis, the essence of hemp.
Welcome back. My guest today is Carl Germano. Carl, welcome.
Thank you, Sheldon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. You have quite a distinguished career in both CBD and the nutraceutical industry. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I am a board certified clinical nutritionist by trade, but I've been in the dietary supplement industry for over 4 decades now. So I'm showing my age, but nevertheless,
You
I've
still you
been,
still look like a kid. Like you could be in college.
well, it must be all the vitamins I take because I take plenty of them. Nevertheless, concurrently, as I was in clinical practice, I had gotten a chance to work in the dietary supplement industry, and for 40 plus years, I've been developing products for some of the largest companies in the trade. But the last 10 years, I've really dedicated my life and moving forward with revealing and educating on the endocannabinoid system and how important the active compounds in hemp are for people to understand them truly. And I go far above and beyond CBD because CBD is one of 100 plus different compounds in the plant, and they all synergistically have a role to play. And yes, big pharma and other companies will choose and pick different compounds from it and highlight it. But the basic tenet of all botanical medicine is to provide the synergy of the plant itself. And we should treat hemp no differently than we treat ginseng or echinacea or any other herb for that matter. We look at ginsenosides and we look at active components in plants. We don't really single many of them out. And here is a classical example. Unfortunately, for the past 5+ years, CBD has been highlighted, but what's evolving in science is that the real benefit to this plant is the collective of these class of compounds called phytocannabinoids, along with the active flavonoids like the canflavins and many other compounds in the plant. And so I come from a different breed. I don't like to focus in on any one single ingredient in a plant. And again, with hemp, it's no different.
Great. How long have you been affiliated with Verdant?
Since its inception, close to 7 years ago. This is a company that truly wanted to take the path, because at that time, there were other companies and they were highlighting CBD, and we sat down and we are a group of professionals, the COOs, a naturopathic physician, the CEOs, a medical esthetician, and we have numerous PhDs in the chemistry, extraction plants, what have you. And we truly felt we needed to lay the pathway and the road in the right direction for companies to understand and appreciate hemp for what it is as a plant, not marijuana, and the active components and how they support and nourish the body's endocannabinoid system. And that's what it's all about. Why are we taking CBD? Why are we talking about phytocannabinoids? Why do we talk about hemp? Is because the active compounds in this plant happen to nourish and support one of the most important physiological systems in the body called the endocannabinoid system, which we can talk hours about. And obviously, I wrote my first book, The Road to Ananda, on this very subject. And it's just the beginning. We are in our pre-fetal stages, so to speak, because of the way this country treated hemp. I mean, it locked it up under the Controlled Substances Act. We couldn't consume it, cultivate it, commercialize it, what have you. But outside of this country, it was a very different picture. And in Europe, they were cultivating, they were studying it. They were registering true hemp strains that have history of human use, that go through a lot of genetic testing to make sure THC is under control. And so we look to the outside world, and I really take offense to some companies who are desperate in their attempt to try to justify the material by playing the game of, it's not made in the United States. Well, unfortunately, the United States were in the dark ages for 100 years. Other countries weren't. Let's at least embrace the kind of research and a lot of work that's been done to bring hemp to the forefront here. So 10 years, close to 10 years now with Verdant. And again, we are at the tip of the iceberg. As you may know, a release has just gone out that we have spent the past 3 years and a lot of money to conduct the appropriate toxicology studies under the FDA's Red Book guidelines to get self-affirmed grasp, which we did get and was published now in the reputable scientific journal called PLOS One. And, we try to differentiate ourselves from a lot of the questionable materials in the marketplace. One of them happens to be answering FDA's concern, prove your material is safe. And so for our clients, we want them to take the safe road. We want to mitigate any risk. And we conducted these studies, and we've gone through a lot of time and effort and money to do this the right way, as per FDA's guidelines. And, we are on the forefront of providing not only high quality materials, but safe materials that the FDA would not have any issue with what we have done and what has been published for our material.
Great. It's my understanding that Verdant has made numerous inroads into the global CDB market. Your website refers to ancestral hemp. Talk about that and what that means.
Yeah, I think this is very, very important. And that is, as I mentioned before, that while the U.S. was hampered by legal issues and we couldn't grow and commercialize and even study hemp, Europe was doing this. And the EU Commission has a website where they have registered true industrial hemp strains that go through a 5 to 6 year process of testing the genetics, THC stability, identifying the plant itself, that it is true industrial hemp. And I emphasize that, and that's because the fact that here in the United States, truly who's been leading the effort have been marijuana companies, since really hemp has not been able to be grown. And there's been a lot of manipulation going on, and there's several studies, one that I referred to over and over in New Phytologist, where researchers have found that these high CBD plants that are being cultivated here in the U.S., basically, they are nothing more than marijuana varieties. 90% of the genes that they find in these high CBD plants are genes that come from marijuana, only 10% from hemp. Whereas here, what we provide to our clients is true industrial hemp that has the genetic ancestry that has been consumed by humans for decades, as opposed to these new genetically manipulated plants that are posing themselves as hemp, which we certainly take offense to. And basically, the authors of this paper talk about the fact that these high CBD plants are genetically marijuana for the most part, and they can't be expected to meet the legal definition of industrial hemp in any situation. This means that CBD products that are labeled hemp could be incorrectly labeled and falsely branded. And so we, on the other hand, can show the exact strain we use, which is on the EU Commission's website, that has all this history and has all the testing that's done with it, to prove it's industrial hemp in the first place. So that's just several of the things that differentiate us from a lot of the materials in the marketplace.
Very good. Okay. Well, we're going to take another short break, and when we come back, I want to talk to you. You mentioned your book, The Road to Ananda, and I think you've written 9 books. Is that correct? Is it 9 and counting?
This is 9. The next one is in progress.
All right.
Again, the endocannabinoid system and consciousness.
Great. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about book number 9. So, folks, stick around. More from Carl Germano after this word from Verdant Oasis.
Not all hemp oils are created equal. Let Verdant Oasis show you why. Verdant Oasis is a vertically integrated hemp-centric raw material grower, manufacturer, and supplier. We oversee every step from soil to oil. Verdant strains are genotyped and registered by government-regulated seed banks. Our operations are HACCP and GMP certified by SGS International. Verdant Oasis has the most comprehensive global safety dossier for hemp extract, setting the benchmark for FDA acceptance and NDI compliance, the gateway to the food and beverage industry. Our hemp oil ingredients are accepted and authorized by the FDA, USDA, and DEA for interstate commerce throughout the United States. In the UK and EU, our extract is authorized as a novel food. Wholesome and pure, backed by science, legally compliant, and fully integrated with a dedicated innovation center to serve your unique marketing objectives. To learn more about the Verdant difference, visit our website at www.verdantoasis.com. Verdant Oasis, the essence of hemp.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Carl Germano from Verdant Oasis. And I want to get into your book a little bit, The Road to Ananda. It was book number 9. It's a guide to the cannabinoid system. Okay, we'll get that out. Hemp and phytocannabinoids. The book addresses what you refer to as the botanical travesty and confusion, as well as the importance of hemp. Do you think your book has been an aid to the consumer or more an industry aid?
From an industry perspective, yes, it's been an eye-opener for a lot of people to understand, again, why in the world am I taking CBD? What is it doing in the body? And more importantly, as we kind of try to branch open and to tell the bigger picture, that all of these beautiful compounds in this plant play an important role. CBD may be the major cannabinoid in hemp, but certainly the others, which are minor in number, are not minor in their activity in the body. And we've gotten to learn that with emerging studies coming out on how some cannabinoids from hemp block the cellular entry of the COVID virus into the cell, in vitro study. But nevertheless, it wasn't CBD, it was cannabidolic acid, it was CBG and cannabidiolic acid. So we are learning there are many other compounds, many other phytocannabinoids other than CBD that are important. But the basis behind understanding the true value of these components and the true value of hemp is to understand the human body's cannabinoid system, which we call the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. And the ECS is all over the body. It's on every organ system, helping to modulate its functioning. And so when we look at the global picture of the endocannabinoid system, it's there to maintain homeostasis, balance. You want to be in balance. You've got, you talk about adaptogens, keeping the endocannabinoid system at the top of the list in terms of protocols that we use in terms of nutritional therapies is key to good health in general. Then we go down to each organ system and what is the endocannabinoid system doing there? And when you look at some of the top conditions or areas that make a great entry into product development is, things like neurotransmission of the brain. So, memory and learning and what have you, the pain, inflammation, stress and anxiety, sleeplessness, bone health. People don't realize how important the endocannabinoid system and CBD and other cannabinoids actually are critical as an adjunct to calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, menaquinone 7, and keeping bones healthy. And they work very, very differently than the nutrients. As a matter of fact, more importantly, they work on the cells that actually build up and break down bone. And the list goes on and on and on about when we can influence the endocannabinoid system, we have a large list of conditions that we may be able to address very efficiently with other accessory nutrients that we have in our nutritional arsenal right now. And so it's the appreciation of the body's cannabinoid system. And I tell people, you're just going to have to get over it. Your body produces cannabinoids like cannabinoids found in cannabis, and your body feeds off of them. And you have receptors all over every organ that require cannabinoids to regulate functionality in the body. And so the list goes on and on. So the book, Road to Ananda, Ananda in Sanskrit meaning bliss, the road to true inner bliss is to affect the most important physiological system that's controlling balance and good health, the endocannabinoid system. And so, and plus one of the cannabinoids we actually produce in the brain, in the body in general, is anandamide. And that's where the Sanskrit word Ananda was used again, since it means bliss. And anandamide, we know, hits the receptors in the brain, similar to what THC does. And that is, THC hits those receptors and is very psychoactive. Well, anandamide hits those same receptors. It's nowhere near as psychoactive, but it absolutely affects mood. So when we see runners and people who do exhaustive exercise, and we notice anandamide levels go high, that feeling of euphoria is not a result of endorphins. That's the old story. It's all about the endocannabinoid system and keeping you not only healthy, but making you feel good. And so that book, Road to Ananda, is just an entry into what's going to dominate nutrition and medicine for the next few decades. And that is all about this physiological system that's been buried. And that's where I talk about the travesty. I mean, in medical school, college, even for people going to nursing, to you name the medical practitioner area, you should be learning about the endocannabinoid system. And it's been kind of quieted or kept down because of the stigma attached to cannabinoids, which is truly a travesty and a tragedy that we can now hold education about a physiological system we've been born with since the beginning of time. You find it in single cell organisms to animals, you name it. So, that's the travesty. It is changing. Things have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. But without a doubt, once you learn about the endocannabinoid system, you then get a real appreciation of how important hemp and the active class of compounds, phytocannabinoids, are in terms of placing them at the top of the list in many nutritional protocols to address many conditions in the body.
Like most books, can you find it on Amazon for those who want to purchase
Yeah, it's
a copy?
Amazon. All of my books I've kept in the trade primarily. I didn't go mass market. I find that people in our trade are the people who are most interested in these subjects and really want to learn. And so it's been very helpful and popular in the trade. But yes, it's on Amazon.
Fantastic. Good. Let's say on the consumer side of things for just a little bit here. Consumer goes into a store, whether it's a health food store or a grocery store, wherever CBD products are sold. They don't really know what's inside. They don't, maybe a supplement, maybe a regular dietary supplement they might know. They could, if they wanted to take the initiative, they could contact a company, a manufacturer, and ask for a COA. Sometimes they can get that certificate of analysis. But when it comes to a CBD product, they don't know, do they?
It's problematic because the FDA has not regulated this sector yet. We've been asking for 7+ years. They've been sitting on their hands. We know that there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with legal potential bills that can help. And there's been pressure on Congress to push the FDA to regulate. And the day will come. It will be regulated. But because it's not regulated and it's not treated as a dietary supplement, it becomes a little bit risky, and risky on the part of the consumer. And I say consumer beware because, again, as I've read the author's conclusions of that paper on the genetics of marijuana and hemp, that a lot of the materials in the marketplace are marijuana and not true hemp strains. And so what does a consumer do? Well, just like asking for a C of A, which could be important, more importantly, one should ask for some genetic testing on the strains that were used, or an affidavit for the strains that were used to produce the raw material that's in their product. Also ask for the standard assays that should be done to prove not only quality but safety, and that includes pesticides and heavy metals and microbiological contaminants. You should be able to get that. And unfortunately, the consumer has to be proactive right now because there are a lot of companies who jumped into this trade. They don't belong in this trade, but they see the dollar signs and they're selling the wrong materials. They're selling the wrong story, and it is buyer beware. We take a different path, and as I said, we prove that our material is industrial hemp. Every single batch has all of the assays from either Eurofins or Alchemist Labs, and and again, we have done all the toxicology studies to get self-affirmed grass, which both retailers and consumers should be demanding companies to show that they spent the time and the effort to prove that their material is safe, let alone to prove it is industrial hemp and not marijuana. So, there's been several organizations that have been trying to help, and certainly USP has got the different designations of type 1, 2, and 3 cannabis. Type 1 being THC dominant, which is marijuana. Type 2, THC CBD, which are the marijuana hybrids that are out there. And then type 3, which is true industrial hemp, CBD dominant. And, you should get that kind of information. So unfortunately, we're asking the consumers to get, and the retailers should be equally as proactive in getting the right documentation to make sure they're not taking risks themselves. Because while FDA has not made a move, that doesn't mean at any given time they will not. And if they, all they need to see is where this material is coming from. Is it true hemp? Is it safe? They're going to ask for the safety data, so forth and so on. So at this point, it is buyer beware, and to be more proactive.
Thank you very much. We've been talking to Carl Germano. He's the Vice President for Verdant Oasis. Appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you for your support. Thanks to Verdant for your support, and appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Sheldon. A pleasure to be here. And thank you again for the opportunity.
You got it. Everybody, thanks for watching the 420 Area Code, and we will see you next time.
Not all hemp oils are created equal. Let Verdant Oasis show you why. Verdant Oasis is a vertically integrated hemp-centric raw material grower, manufacturer, and supplier. We oversee every step from soil to oil. Verdant strains are genotyped and registered by government-regulated seed banks. Our operations are HACCP and GMP certified by SGS International. Verdant Oasis has the most comprehensive global safety dossier for hemp extract, setting the benchmark for FDA acceptance and NDI compliance, the gateway to the food and beverage industry. Our hemp oil ingredients are accepted and authorized by the FDA, USDA, and DEA for interstate commerce throughout the United States. In the UK and EU, our extract is authorized as a novel food. Wholesome and pure, backed by science, legally compliant, and fully integrated with a dedicated innovation center to serve your unique marketing objectives. To learn more about the Verdant difference, visit our website at www.verdantoasis.com. Verdant Oasis, the essence of hemp.